Hey everybody, today we are going to talk about Rife Sensors. So, Rife Sensors are another brand, a newer brand of pressure and temperature sensors for, your EFI system and data logging and whatnot. And they've been around for a couple of years now, but the quality is top notch, and I've after dealing with them for a little while, decided to become one of their, I guess they call it their elite dealers, where we have a stocking inventory. So some people don't know about these things, some people do, but I wanted to kind of give you an overview of how their blocks work. So like their pressure transducer blocks, and also explain some of the options that you have with it, and as well as a bunch of their temperature sensors and how all of this stuff works. So we've used these on quite a few cars over the years, when they come already mounted on a car or whatnot. And after tinkering with them for a while, we decided to pull the trigger and be a dealer for them. So I kind of wanted to give you a good overview of kind of how to spec these things out, how to, properly set them up and whatnot, because there's a ton of different configurations you can make with this. So the first thing is the block itself, okay? So this is a four-way block. As you can see, it's got, 4 holes in it for the transducers, and then it's got a Deutsch DT 6-way connector on it, okay? So as far as cleaning up wiring, I like these because, well, I wire race cars, and the less I got to do, the better. So this really cleans things up. So they have they molded in a Deutsch connector into the body of the block, and then all of your sensors get dropped in. I'm going to show you that in a minute, and then all you have to do is plug in either a harness from Rife, or if you're wiring cars already, you have a Deutsch DT 6-way, just make your harness. You send one 5-volt wire, one sensor ground wire, and it's all distributed inside of this block to power and ground all 4 of these sensors. So the 4 ways, obviously you've got 6 pins, so you've got 4 sensor signals and then a 5-volt and a ground. So there's your 6 plugs. When you get to a 3-way, you've got 3 pressure transducers, and this little guy on the side, kind of hard to focus on. That little guy on the side here, I'll show you on this one. Those little guys on the side there, they are for M5 cables to go down to temperature sensors. So this is actually a really cool setup. I like these a lot. So they offer an M5 cable, a bunch of different lengths. We stock a bunch of different, bunch of different sizes of them, lengths. So you screw one end is 90 degree, one end is straight. So you make a decision of do I need the 90 down at the sensor? Or do I need the 90 at the sensor block? So you can run your same DT 6-way that you would use for a 4-way block here, right, to a 3-way block, and you've got 3 pressure transducers and 1 temp sensor. You get down to the 2-way blocks, and you've got 2 pressure transducers and 2 temp sensors, right? So that's what I have out here, to show you as a demonstration. The cool thing about these is that they're kind of bulletproof. I haven't heard of or dealt with any failures of sensors. The fact that it's all kind of in a billet aluminum made in the USA block that is remote mounted, so you could bolt this up on your firewall, or on a down bar or something in the front end, if you were going to do boost control and you wanted some temp up there as well. There's a lot of different options. The fact that it's kind of all molded in into one unit, it makes life pretty nice. So anyway, inside of this, what you do when you order these, and being that we're a stocking dealer for these, we can put these, as long as we have, as long as you're not ordering some oddball pressure range or something. I mean, we stock just about every pressure range available, just about every temp sensor available. But we can get these put together and sent out within a day. Motion's a huge company. Rife's a big company. It takes them some time to be able to put these together, and actually assemble them in order to ship them out complete. And to be honest, it's easier if you were to ever want to change something. It's a heck of a lot easier to take the lid off and look inside and see how it was done and then just replicate it as opposed to just trying to wing it yourself. So, yes, could you buy the parts independently, put it together yourself? Sure. But, why not have somebody else do it for you? And then if you do ever decide that you want to change from a 300 to a 500 or a 100 or whatever, pop the lid, look at how it's done, and, replicate it with a different pressure range. So inside of this sensor block, you've got, so these are the leads that come off of the actual sensors, right? And they plug in down here. And it's, kind of messy. I didn't lay this out properly yet because it's going to be pulled apart, for demonstration purposes. But in order to get that lid off, you take your, a 1/16 Allen wrench, and you pop 6 screws out, and there's a gasket, right? And then the billet aluminum machined lid. So the lid has got, if you notice, the lid's recessed here to allow for wire clearance, right here, and then, flat over here. So, if you order them from us, we can get them out in a day or so, as long as we have them, we have exactly what you're looking for in stock. If you order it early enough, I can get them out the same day. They only take a couple minutes to put together. So let's talk about some of the pressure ranges, right? So you've got your standard 100 PSI, 200 PSI, sorry, trying to focus. 300, here's 150. So 150 is nice for the mechanical fuel pump fuel pressure sensors, right? So you get a little bit more resolution since you're not going all the way up to 200. We've got 500 PSI, good for your line pressure on your Turbo 400s and Power Glides, because, the idea with pressure sensors is you want to exceed the maximum working pressure that you are going to have in the circuit, but you don't want to exceed it by a ton. So, you don't want to put a 7-bar map sensor in something that's only going to see 15 pounds of boost. Doesn't make sense. So, as far as map sensors, there's also plenty of map sensors available. There's 3 bars, 5 bar. There's 1 bars. There's a 7 bar, right? So for you guys that really like to party, hit that little guy up right there. So there's a lot of different options as far as pressure ranges and pressure transducers. There's also a few options as far as the connection type on the bottom of the actual pressure transducer, right? So these, I opt to do all 3AN. So the reason being is that they also offer an 1/8 inch NPT. I opt for 3AN because, well, they're going to be remote mounted, and it's a heck of a lot easier to make a 3AN hose or buy a pre-made 3AN hose than it is to actually, adapt from 1/8 inch NPT to AN or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, you could use push lock if you wanted to, but to me, if you're getting into something that's nice quality, let's use some nice quality line as well, so we don't have any leaks or anything like that. But the temperature sensor lineup is actually very, very nice. This is actually one of the big things that caught my attention a few years ago from Rife, and that is they have a high range intake air temp sensor. I use a lot of 1/8 inch NPT because most of the stuff that comes to us is either not drilled or whatnot, and I want to try to keep it as small as possible and as light as possible. So 1/8 inch NPT direct wire means you've just got a flying lead, right? So if you order these from us and you say, hey, I want to be able to terminate this, disregard the sensor block. Say you order this from us and you say, I need an intake air temp sensor, let us know, and I can terminate one end of this to a Deutsch DTM connector and then give you the mating connector on the other side so that you can terminate it on your end. Then if you've already got a GM temp sensor, right, so a GM air temp sensor, this is a low intake air temp sensor, so this is like low range, right? And it's already got a GM plug built into it, so this is like a direct swap. If you wanted to go to a higher range, you'd go here to a high range or high AT sensor, but it's also got it's also 3/8 NPT and a direct swap for the plug. Then we get liquid temp sensors. So these are slick because usually when you're measuring liquid, you're either shoving it into an orifice that water or oil or something is flowing through. So you certainly don't want to try to cram a 3/8 NPT somewhere along the line. The 1/8 inch NPT works really well for this, and I end up doing quite a bit of I use like a female 1/8 inch NPT T, and then I'll screw this into the long side leg that doesn't have actual pressure going past it, so we don't block it. But that works out really well also. And then we've got liquid temp sensors for a 3/8 NPT and a GM connector if you're replacing a coolant temp sensor or whatnot that's already on the car. So there's a ton of different options with them, and quality is like top notch on all this stuff. When you put it in your hands, you can tell it's built well. So I work with a lot of different stuff, and I'm actually really happy with these. So anyway, Holley has also put all of their sensors in the drop down. So when you swap from a GM coolant temp to a Rife coolant temp, you just literally change it in the drop down under under your 5-volt sensor. So makes life even easier. So anyway, check them out. Let us know if we can help you out with Rife Sensors. They should be up on our website here in the next few days. We are a small shop, so our web development is not exactly developed, if you get me. So anyway, let us know what you think, and hit us up if you need anything. Thanks.